Dear LeBron James, you choked again. Let's go. Hold up. Hold it. I didn't press all the right buttons. It is now 8 a.m. Do you know where your favorite sports show is? Well, I know where it is. It's right here. And as I get everything together and make sure that all of our radio networks pick up this show, before we begin, let me apologize to our radio affiliates. This has been an off week technologically for me. I'm going to fix that beginning today. Now, let's go.
On your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning. Kevin Durant, you should have left California.
This bronsexual upset me in having to bring this teenage idiot from Wisconsin into a sports conversation. Are you really surprised that the Cowboys are giving up on Ezekiel Elliott?
Whoa. Hell no. Well, no one cares about baseball.
Bitch, are you for real?
Oh, yeah! Let's get this party started, baby. Good morning. Welcome to the fabulous, fantastic, freaky football Friday edition of Snowman in the morning. I'm feeling great. I hope y'all are too. My partner is Cole Johnson, the fabulous executive producer of the program and of Snowman Multimedia, and he is that man in charge of what we like to call Cool Sports with a Z. And he's got an evil look on his face because I know he's up to something. Good morning, partner. How are you today?
All right, well, I'm up to my eyeballs at work, but other than that, I'm good.
I get it. You don't want to see my desk. That's all I have to say. You don't want to see my desk. Especially after the baseball game I did yesterday. And thank you to all of you who tuned into that play-by-play call yesterday. It felt great being in the comfort of my home doing a White Sox game. So let's get down to business. And this is what we love to call the whip around. And it is presented by Fanatics, y'all. Marathon playoff hockey. You got to love it. The Florida Panthers won in not one, not two, not three, 4 overtimes. I was watching more of that than I was watching the. Never mind. That's too easy. The Panthers win last night in 4 overtimes to swipe game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
And that goal actually happened with almost 10 seconds left in the 4th overtime. Wow.
You got to love playoff hockey because you never know what's going to happen.
No, and the tense action, especially when you get to overtime. Every move is just hanging on. I mean, it could be a shot, it could be a substitution, it could be a penalty. Every single thing just gets multiplied exponentially, and the tension, and you could cut the tension with a knife in the building.
Man, oh man. Matthew Tkachuk with the game winner with 12.7 left in the 4th overtime. His second overtime goal this postseason, ending the 6th longest game in NHL history. And they beat the homestanding Hurricanes in front of a raucous crowd in Raleigh, North Carolina. That final was 3-2. What a game last night at PNC's arena. What a game.
Yeah. And I know our man A Pizzle is ecstatic and probably beside himself.
He's going
nuts. Let's see his Heater up 1-0 the Eastern Conference Finals in the NBA. Now his Panthers are 1-0 in the AHL Eastern Final. AHL Santa Cruz Final. I know he is having a ball right now.
Unless you guys remember, the last time the Florida Panthers got this far, they went on to go to the Stanley Cup Finals that year, 1996, when they faced the Colorado Avalanche in the Stanley Cup Final. Next one. Can I do this one?
All yours.
The Super Bowl is returning to the Bay. The Magic number 60 will be hosted at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara. Second Super Bowl to be played in Santa Clara. Of course, Super Bowl 50, the golden anniversary, was played there between the Carolina Panthers and the Denver Broncos. So Super Bowl 60 will be played in February 2026 in Santa Clara. And a little sneaky surprise, my crew's going to be there. Cole Johnson, my wife, his wife, all of our crew. We're basically going to have our own corner at Levi's Stadium media-wise. I'm just
Super Bowl 60. That's only in 3 years. Wow, man. But
I told you I got plans, man.
Well, I know you do. This is actually a testament not just to the 49ers organization, but actually to that area of Santa Clara and Silicon Valley, Santa Clara, San Jose, and that area where you normally have a good area of weather for the most part when it comes to playing anything in February outdoors.
Yeah,
you now have a stadium that is still even years in operation, state of the art. So they have, I mean, you have, and because Super Bowl stadiums need to have at least 72,000 people who can actually be in the building. So they did a good job of building that to not have a cavernous building, but to have one that's sleek and one that is modern and the one that basically is classy. And so you have that, and you have a wonderful area where, like I said, weather-wise in February in the Bay Area, pristine and perfect. So,
and it's hosted by a team that has come on lately. Because remember, they didn't have a lot of success until 2019, and since then, they've been to the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years. They've won 2 Western Division NFC West titles. They made a Super Bowl appearance, of course, 2 NFC championships. So it also helps that the team has come on lately.
Yes. So kudos definitely to the Levi Stadium crew. You all have a great building, and for you to host a second Super Bowl, that says a lot. And that means now that building has put itself in the rotation of you might see this once every decade. A Super Bowl hosted there.
And you might also, that may also trickle down into the college ranks, because remember, Levi Stadium has hosted a national championship before. I believe it was Clemson and Alabama in 2019.
And
that
since
played.
that building's been erected, have they hosted every Pac-12 championship game?
Except for the last two, yes.
Okay, that's right. The last two was in Vegas, but yeah,
The very first one was in Oregon. The very first one was at Autzen Stadium. Try to remember the name of it. Was at Autzen Stadium in Oregon, and then they moved everything to Levi Stadium. Then the last two were in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
So I can't complain either way. I love Levi Stadium and Allegiant Stadium. Hell, they're both modern, and they both had great crowds.
Yeah,
they both had great crowds. Let's move on.
Now, what is a flagrant foul and what is not? Well, that was the question when the Lakers were up 23-20 in the first quarter of last night's game. We will talk about that in the next segment.
Yep, and whistled.
Yes, and Jamal Murray intercepted a pass from Dennis Schroeder, sprinted up the court for a layup, but he was fouled in transition by Lakers guard D'Angelo Russell. He hit Murray on the arm and face while contesting the shot. Now, the referees initiated a review of the foul and upgraded the common foul to a flagrant one because of D'Angelo Russell's wind-up and contact. Now, Mr. Russell said at the end of game 2, quote,
Soft. Go with
this league astounds me. I'm sorry. Let's see. Jeff Van Gundy says this. Well, yeah, Dan Russell says soft. Jeff Van Gundy says, quote, this league astounds me. What do we want D'Angelo Russell to do? Get out of the way? What happened to the game I love?
I love Jeff Van Gundy. And of course, I do too. And of course, I'm going to press 2 special buttons for you.
Close quote. Go ahead.
I'm going to press 2 special buttons for you with that quote from Jeff Van Gundy. Of course, his bosses at ESPN are going to say,
moan him!
And I wouldn't be surprised that within a couple of years, they will also tell him, because Jeff Van Gundy spoke the truth about the NBA, which is what we do here on a daily basis. I wouldn't be surprised if ESPN told him 2 extra words.
You're fired!
Because on a foul that turned into a flagrant when LeBron James flopped when he was a member of the Miami Heat, and you know the exact call I'm talking about. Jeff Van Gundy says, what is going on with this league? And he basically said it again last night. I do not blame Jeff Van Gundy. He coached the Knicks, for God's sakes, at the tail end of their physical run. And I don't want to say it's the tail end because Pat Riley molded that team into the physical beasts that they were of the Atlantic Division. But Jeff Van Gundy took it a little higher and also took them to the finals. There's the difference.
Yeah, it did.
But watch what happens within a couple of years. Let me push this button again. They're going to tell Jeff Van Gundy for telling the truth and not getting in bed with the Disney ears. So Jeff Van Gundy, kudos to you for your comments.
Well, yes, definitely kudos to you, sir, and I agree. Fortunately, DC, you will not be celebrating just yet. Ownership of the Commanders changing hands. But as expected, though, the NFL ownership meeting in Minneapolis next week will not feature a vote on the Commanders sale. Now, Josh Harris and his partners announced the purchase of the team from Dan and Tanya Snyder for a $6.05 billion price tag in a purchase and sale agreement last Friday.
Billions?
Yes. Billion as in B. Yes.
The league will what we're gonna make in 2 years.
Now, the league will provide ownership with an update, said League Executive Vice President of Communications, Public Affairs, and Policy of Public Affairs and Policy, Jeff Miller. But the sale remains in the early stages of review by the league office and the NFL Owners Finance Committee. So it looks like the Commanders. Commanders are still in charge of one Mr. and Mrs. Snyder. Got to get away from that quagmire. Goodness gracious.
Okay. When the sale is done, can we change the name back for the fans' sake? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that aloud?
Well, unfortunately, that is one of those you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube type of thing.
I know. And we all know where that came. We all know how. Go on, please. Before I
include this day's whip around, this will probably make Snowman happy. There is going to be an MLS team in San Diego. Yes, an MLS team.
What? MLS? Is that Manny Machado's deal?
I think it
Is
might be.
he one of the partners for it?
Let's see. He might be. So the MLS, or Major League Soccer's 30th team, as MLS announced at a press conference at Snapdragon Stadium on Thursday, is that the commissioner of the league, Don Garber, was joined by businessman Mohammed Mansour and Siquan Tribe chairman Cody. The announcement: San Diego Padres Manny Machado is also part of the ownership group. Now, the new team will be debuting in 2025, a year before the U.S., along with Canada, Mexico, hosts the 2026 World Cup. A team name and crest will be revealed in the near future.
And that
thoughts on the names, sir?
San Diego Sockers. And that will conclude today's whip around.
I was hoping you were going to see.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the Fanatics feedback zone. A Pizzle has joined us. How about those Florida Panthers? I love the Florida Panthers. They are now my dog.
How wide is your smile, A Pizzle? How wide is your smile, man? Because I know you grinning hard.
About as wide as the city of Miami. That's how wide that's how wide that smile is. Let me get to this one when we were talking about Levi Stadium hosting the Super Bowl. And we could have had such a stadium if it weren't for a certain and Rangers. No, I'm not salty. Why do you ask? You stupid
Ryan
Ryan.
McCarthy of No Credentials Required fame. He does not have an axe to grind at all, especially toward James Dolan, does he?
No, he doesn't have an axe to grind, but he's got a hammer and a nail waiting for him.
Oh my goodness, yes.
I love it.
He would only say
unlike MetLife Stadium, which is soulless and sterile. Ain't that the truth? They'll never host the Super Bowl in the New York metro area until there's a stadium with a retractable roof. Well, that ain't going to happen in that area.
Agreed. That's the only way that they will host a Super Bowl in New York.
Same with Chicago.
And same with Chicago.
I don't have
the exact same. The exact same with Chicago. Yeah, no question.
I don't have an axe to grind with Chicago at all, do I? No.
Oh no. Except
they're
moving. Except the Bears are moving out of Chicago. No, you have an axe to grind.
I don't have an axe to grind at all because I'm not going anywhere near Arlington Heights. I will say this: speaking of Chicago and venerable Soldier Field, I have an offer for you, sir.
Okay.
It goes like this:
Venerable Soldier Field in Chicago, and you have an offer for me. What is it, sir?
If I were to land the HBCU Chicago Classic, want to put on a headset with me?
Okay. All right.
And considering Victor is in Chicago, Victor's our engineer. What say you?
All right. Why not?
Then I will say, get you and your wife ready for some pizza and some dogs Labor Day weekend, because that's when it happens. And I fully expect I say this a lot, and a lot of things don't happen, but I fully expect to land that classic and to have Cole Johnson riding shotgun with me in the booth. Period.
And A Pencil probably watched every single second of that game last night and says, I'm still tired. I bet you are.
And the reason we're surprised?
Not.
And the reason we're surprised? Eric Wallace joins us. Eric, where are you joining us from?
What's up, brother?
Let's give you a proper shout. Where are you joining us from? Oh no. Okay, Cole, this one's yours. Take it.
A message from your friendly neighborhood Vicola. It's proven that those who don't have a forever teammate hate those who do. Don't be a Vooter. Don't be a Kenyon Martin. Find love with Bronbull. Good Lord. Find someone who loves you the way bronsexuals love they can.
You have until next Wednesday to visualize that.
Lord have mercy. Yeah, I
no
think
one.
it
This
is now.
is your fault that you started all this.
Goodness gracious.
You
The
started
stuff I
all
st-
this,
The
and the
stuff I start, I tell you.
the stuff you. How did you put it the other day? The stuff you unearth.
And to think Vicolab was supposed to be a bit just with a character.
And it's supposed to only last like what, 1 or 2 episodes.
If that.
Nope, it's immortal.
Yeah.
Like
everybody,
the immortal
including the intended target,
yes.
seems to now use it. And I'm like, oh, good Lord.
I mean, he put it in an ad, for God's sakes.
I know. I'm like, oh my goodness.
And Sick Diggy, thank you for coming up with the very first joke ad that we do.
Yes. Thank you.
And look, Lakers and Nuggets. The Lakers had an 11-point lead.
We will talk about them, though, on the other side, because we're going to break down game 2 of the Western Conference Finals between the Nuggets and the Lakers.
Oh, did I say
and the reason why you see my partner rested and smiling, well, we'll tell you that on the other side. Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson will return right after this.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
That's why we here on this platform.
Marriage, a loving splendor, a daily grind. Such is the case when Damien and Jamie get together and chop it up, for marriage is real.
Let's just lay it all out here. Let's just be real with it.
Join this wonderful couple who keeps it real and always in love. BS3 Network proudly presents Marriage is Real, where love is the only thing that matters. Live every Tuesday at 8:30 Central. Oh, and Jamie has something to say.
Deuces and trays.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the high five strangers got. Game-winning interception. First down. Just a nice, solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
The original Think Drink is back. Level up with proven ingredients formulated to crush your competition. No gimmicks, no jitters, no messing around. Just high-potency results that keep you moving day or night. There's a new nerd in town, and we came to play. Nerd Focus. Smarter than energy.
The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Boston,
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Every time you play that, sparks so many PSAs from the fans and the crowd and myself. Oh Lord. Even my wife, my beautiful Jody, has one.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
My wife, yes, my beautiful Jody, who I will celebrate 4 years of marriage with on my dad's birthday this summer, has a PSA of her own.
Oh, good Lord.
You know what to do.
All right. The following is a public service announcement from Jody Snow.
Tom Brady.
This has been a public service announcement from Jody Snow. Wow.
You know the rivalry. You know, I don't have to explain it.
Yeah, Colts
All
Patriots,
right.
yes.
All right. Thank you, Hawk TV. Man, quit. Y'all gonna make me cry, but it's true. It's when I found Jody, I found my forever.
Yeah.
Now let's get to business before I start crying. And thank you. I'm Ryan McCoffey, and I approve this message. I think everybody does. I think everybody does.
I think this will dry up the tears and make you smile. So last night there was an NBA game, West Conference Finals, Game 2 in Denver between the Nuggets hosting the Lakers, and the series now is the Lakers are down 2-0. Thank you, Andrew. And somebody.
And some point lead.
Yes, and somebody, and we will definitely get to the choke job. And somebody who wears the number 6 and they were actually clad in gold and purple, which, with my old man get off my lawn take, that is absolutely wrong. They should be wearing their purple on the road, but I digress. One of these days, I will get that old man get off my lawn take about that.
You know what? You need to do it on the next Cole Sports, and I need to join you.
I might need to do that.
I need to, and can't make a 3 or stop.
Yeah, I was going to say that person who wears number 6 for the yellow and the gold and the brown, purple, he could not make a 3. He couldn't stop flopping, and he couldn't stop turning the ball over.
0 for 8,
and he can't make a dunk.
And that missed dunk turned the game completely around. 108, 103. 108, 103 was the final after. Okay, I got to do it. I got to put this onto it. Nikola Jokic is a mine.
Well, I'll put it this way. Yeah, well, I'll put it to you this way. Nikola Jokic, another triple-double performance, 23 points, 17 boards, 12 assists. And there was someone who was saying that they thought that Nikola was playing scared. I was like, no, he wasn't playing scared.
He was smart.
He was reading the room. Because he felt as though Jamal Murray had the odd hand, which 9 of 10 from the free throw line and 6 of 14 from 3. And I think he was like 5 or 7 from 3 in the fourth.
Nikola scored 23 in the game, right?
Yeah, 23.
Hey, Faker fans, give me this camera.
Lord.
Give me this camera.
Goodness gracious. Let's give this camera crap.
Nikola scored 23 in the entire game. Jamal Murray scored 23
in the fourth quarter. Yes, and he had a game high. And he had a game high in 37. And you said 23 in the fourth quarter. Okay. And he finished the game 37 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists, 4 steals also. So he did not just play on the offense. He was the guy that really did the job, but the others helped him out pretty well, like Porter Jr. Mike Porter Jr., 16 points and 7 rebounds for him. Aaron Gordon, who was up and down in that game to my liking, 10 points, 2 assists, and 4 rebounds. And Caldwell Pope, who I think he needs to be even a bigger contributor than he has been. He finished the game with 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists, along with being 2 of 5 from 3. Brown, who I think has been a big contributing factor to how the Nuggets have eked out these 2 victories in Denver and the Mile High City.
12 points, 5 boards. Now, for the losing Lakers, you had the man who dons the number 6 and used to don number 23. He finished things off with 22 points, 10 assists, and 9 boards. Came close again to a triple-double himself. Unfortunately, 3 turnovers in the game, 1 huge turnover within the last minute. A steal that he got and a missed layup followed a dunk that he missed early in the game. Yeah, it just wasn't an all-around good game for him, especially shooting 0 for 6 from 3. I won't go into how my partner would actually love the fact that he would rail against how number 6 of the Lakers cannot hit anything from 3 because he fundamentally can't at least keep that shot going. Also, joining with 22 points is Reeves. Austin Reeves, 22 points. He also gave you 5 dimes, gave you 3 boards. He was 5 of 9 from shooting. He was the hot hand for the Lakers. They didn't go to him enough. I will say that. Rui Hachimura off the bench, who is supposed to actually be the guy to help Anthony Davis roam in defensive coverage. He finished the game with 21 points. A paltry 2 boards, though. But he gave you 21 points all the same. And Anthony Davis, 18 points, 14 boards, 4 assists, 4 block shots.
But it wasn't enough.
To me, he did well until the fourth quarter when
he disappeared.
When he wanted to actually take more threes. Yes, he hit 1, but he wanted to take more threes. 5. Yeah, he wanted to take more threes, and he simply just could not hit anything, finishing 4-15 from the field. And this is the problem that I have with teams in today's era.
Too many threes. I'll simplify that for you. Too many threes.
When these teams are down, they think that they can shoot themselves in a game by hitting threes. 8 of 30 from downtown. Thank you, Marv Albert. That should not preclude. That should not have a team continue to shoot them. If they're not falling, you should. I would say you should subscribe to the. You should subscribe to the Clyde Drexler school of thought. If the threes aren't falling, start driving.
Let me see. Slice your defense to pieces. Thank you, Jim Durham.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Jim Durham. Let me welcome Big Discussion 76 Sports. I owe him a conversation on his channel. He to me on mine. Big time Michigan fan. Welcome, my brother.
Good to see you back, brother. It is good to see you back, man.
Thank you to all for joining us, Hawk TV included. But the Lakers took 11 threes in that fourth quarter and made only 1. You know who made it? One LeBron.
Austin Reeves. Yep. So it's just to me, it is simple for the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
You already know the answer. The answer is you feed Anthony Davis in the post, even with Jokic in the post. You feed him that. Make Jokic on defense work. I'm not saying that Jokic cannot do defensive duties. He's pretty good on defensive end too, but make him work on defense.
Make him sweat.
Make him work.
Make him. You know how the Bulls killed the Knicks all those years? Even with Bill Cartwright in the post, they put Bill Cartwright in the post. They put Scottie Pippen in the post. Mm-hmm. You know they posted the hell out of MJ.
Yeah.
They made Patrick Ewing work.
Yeah, and Patrick Ewing was a really good. In fact,
he was
but in fact, his calling card was defense.
You know, you know how Kareem, matched up with Moses in '81. Mm-hmm. They made each other work.
Then that's the thing.
They made each other work twice. 2 series.
Yes, 2 series.
The mini
81
series,
and went first round, 83 finals.
Championship. They made each other work. I mean, hell, in the clinching game. Yeah. On May 31st, 83, and yes, I know all the dates. May 31st, 83 in the Forum. Kareem had 27 points.
Mm-hmm.
28, I beg your pardon, 28, because he split a pair of free throws in the final minute. 28 points, 8 rebounds.
You got to make...
You know what Moses did? 24 points, 23 rebounds.
Yeah, but he cleaned the boards in that game.
Listen,
but
Anthony Davis versus Nikola Jokic could somewhat remind you of Moses Malone versus Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Here's the problem. The Lakers forgot Anthony Davis was on the team twice now.
Especially in the fourth quarter of last night's game.
Especially in the fourth period.
This is something that I fail to understand.
Let me pose a question.
You had a lead. You had a lead.
Double-digit lead. Double-digit
in the
lead.
fourth. You had a double-digit lead in the game. You had a lead going into the fourth quarter. You had a lead going to fourth quarter. Correct me if I'm wrong, sir, because you've watched basketball as much and as long as I have.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, when you have a lead, is it the goal to score easy buckets when you drain the clock?
Yes.
So basically, you kill two birds with one stone. You make your offense easy.
You kill the clock. You kill the clock, and you kill your opponent by going inside.
You kill the clock, and you lean on your opponent. You make them tired.
Greatest
I don't
team ever
get
assembled, the '86 Boston Celtics, who were getting up there in age. How do you think in the 85-86 season they won 40 out of 41 games in the Boston Garden and were undefeated in the Boston Garden in the playoffs? They beat them up.
They beat every team down.
And their toughest challenge was the Milwaukee Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nothing against your Rockets with the Twin Towers, but nothing at all. No shade against Bill Fitch and your Houston Rockets. None at all.
The Rockets really won to challenge them. They weren't. I'll admit that.
But the Celtics cut them up inside. I mean, they won game 112-100.
Yeah.
When they had a 20-point lead in that game and they still won by 12. You know what the Celtics did to the Rockets in that World Championship Series? They sliced them. Thank you, Jim Durham, again. They sliced them to pieces on the inside. I mean, they posted everybody from Bird to McHale. Bill Walton got his chops in.
Yeah.
And Bill Walton was on his last legs. Bill Walton got his chops in. Danny Ainge posted people up. Dennis Johnson, and you know Dennis Johnson could lean on you with his ass. All right, the way he was shaped, 6'4", 212 out of Pepperdine. Mm-hmm. Okay, he could lean on you with his ass alone. And you wondered, how the hell is Dennis Johnson posting up somebody 4 inches taller than him? Oh, that's easy. He had the girth to do it, and he had the knowledge to do it also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he was good when he was with Phoenix. He got better when he was with the Celtics.
So now,
not only did, but because Casey Jones taught him, look, you don't have to shoot all the time. You could back your opponent down and then kick it out. We got shooters.
Yeah.
So you learn that lesson, we won 3 titles.
And what sucks about this in particular, you had a shooter that was actually going well for you in Reeves.
Awesome.
You could work that inside out. That is what they should have. That's what the Lakers should have worked.
Mm-hmm.
Go inside to Davis, have the Nuggets defense collapse to him. And Davis, who is a really good post passer himself, can kick it out to Reeves. And if they decide to actually have Reeves be covered up, oh well. But I know that somebody else would be open too, and it would free up the offense because it would help. It would make the Nuggets have to work defensively. They would have to run to try to be faster than the ball, and the ball moves faster than the rotating defense. Or they would have to deal with trying to body up somebody who was doing damage down low. And I mean, to me, it was just too simple. And I was just looking at this game, and I'm like, you held a lead going the fourth quarter, and then you just watch your lead with these bad shots that you're taking, Lakers. It goes from you're up, I think, 3 to down 10 with a snap of a finger. I'm like, and you deserve to lose this game.
Let me make a comparison to 1986 before we go to Sam Shady. Here, let me make a comparison to 1986. The Celtics were playing the Atlanta Hawks in the East semifinals. I believe it was the semifinals. You know, the Hawks held a lead 66-55 in the going into the third period. Let me take that back. The Celtics led by 11. Do you know they outscored the Hawks 36-6 in that third quarter? How does that tie into what happened last night? The Lakers led 79-76 going into, thank you, Brett Musburger, the money period. And y'all know my question. When you heard my play, if you hear my play-by-play calls, when it's the fourth quarter, what do we call that? We call that the money period. That should have been cash money for the Lakers. You held a lead against the number 1 seed going into the fourth quarter
on their floor.
House.
On their floor, yeah.
In their house. That should have been a cashed check.
And what makes it even funnier is they must not have learned that lesson that they succeeded in doing in game 1 against the Warriors. Nope. Similar scenario, although, yes, the Warriors feverishly came back for 14 to tie the game. But what did they do in that game? They kept feeding Davis.
And they drove inside. They sliced the Warriors.
They kept feeding Davis, and they kept driving inside.
And here's the finish to that. Here's the finish to that comparison. You had a lead going into the fourth period, although it was by 3, although the Nuggets were on the climb, they were gassed. They were gassed.
Yeah, the Nuggets were gassed.
I mean, Nikola Jokic couldn't even get up and down the floor. He was so gassed, getting back and forth, and y'all let the Denver Nuggets and Jamal Murray shoot themselves back into the game. Because
did Jamal Murray have a night?
I mentioned that 36-6 third quarter that the Celtics had against the Hawks. Even though the Celtics were up 11, you had the feeling the Hawks could get back into it if they can make some shots. And the Boston Celtics said, "Oh, hell no," and buried them in the latter part of the third period. In the first part of the money period last night, the Nuggets outscored the Lakers 20-5.
Yeah, no business doing that.
3-point deficit and turn it into a 12-point
lead. And that cushion stood up.
Let me say it again. They took a 3-point deficit, and within 4.5 minutes, because you forced the Lakers into 2 timeouts.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. You forced the Lakers to take 2 timeouts in that stretch.
2 full timeouts when the Nuggets first got the lead and when they extended it to a dozen. And let me borrow Jim Durham again. When they extended on the lead, you would think after having Denver tie the game at 81 with 10:05 left in the money period, that the Lakers would lean inside because they've had success in doing it all night. Nope.
That's another problem I have. That's another problem I have. Jacked
up threes, and the next thing you know, it's a 12-point lead, 96-84. I turned it off. I turned on the hockey game because Jody looked at me and she said, "Game over?" I said, "Yep, game, set, match." And the Nuggets won by 5. And I'm going to say it ahead of time at Hawk TV. You're going to be a little pissed at me for saying this. This series is over. It's done. This series ends in Southern California middle of next week because ain't no way the Lakers are going to come back against the Nuggets when the Nuggets know how to punish you at your own game, period. Ain't no way. Give me a few minutes. Ain't no way the Lakers are coming back from 2-0 down after they had leads in both games. And they choked them away. They had a small lead in game 1. They had a double-digit lead 3 separate times in game 2. And they choked them both away. This series is over. It's over like LeBron James's career after 2011. It's done. Now I'm done talking. Here's Sam.
Gracious.
Sam Shady joining us, and we'll start with the XFL Championship. Good morning, Sam. How are you?
Good morning, Brian. How's it going? Good morning,
I'm feeling
Cole.
great, man. How are you?
Good morning, Sam.
Doing well, thank you.
You sound as tired as we feel.
That's about right. It's Friday. I go on vacation next week, and man, it can't come fast enough.
Oh, that's good.
Well, we're going to get you in here now. What the hell happened in San Antonio? We will start there, and I'll just ask that question. What?
It was crazy. I don't think many people saw that game coming.
I
This
sure didn't.
entire week was
Nope.
a week full of upsets, personally.
Mhm.
But I think it was awesome to see. I mean, it was kind of like a true real life David and Goliath battle. You know, everybody just assumed that the 10-1 defenders were just going to walk all over the Arlington Renegades at that point,
I
which
sure
were
assume
5-6.
I sure
I did
assumed
too.
that. Let
But
me be real. 8.5-point favorites. I thought it was a whitewash.
100%. As did I, as did most people. I think I projected a 10-point victory by DC.
Yeah.
But I did know that Arlington's defense led the league in both forced fumbles and interceptions. So real quickly, they could change the tide of the game, and that's exactly what happened. We saw the defenders turn the ball over, I believe, 3 times. I think it was 3 interceptions by Jordan Teamu, if I'm not mistaken. And that ultimately was the difference in the game. I mean, if those turnovers didn't happen, I don't think that we see Arlington win this game.
No, and nor do we see Arlington put up 35 points, the most points they put up all season long. Talk about a team with a losing record, a negative scoring deficit, and yet in the 2 games where it counts the most, they put up plus 20 points. That's the first time they put it. I believe this to be true, and Sam, you can research this for me, and I'd like for you to research this for me. The South Division Championship and the XFL Championship were the only games they put up plus 20 points.
I believe there was one game in the regular season where they scored over 20 points, but that came with a caveat. It was also with defensive points scored. I believe there was a defensive touchdown. So I'm pretty sure you're correct. We've talked about it all season long. I think their average points scored on offense was like 15 per game, and that's overshooting it a little bit, I think. Honestly, I think what really was the difference, or the move that turned the tide for Arlington, was bringing in Luis Perez. He was the perfect quarterback for this offense. Kyle Sloter and Drew Plitt are both a little bit more gunslinger types. They want to throw the ball down the field. They want to push the ball, which ironically never happened. And then you brought in Luis Perez, a veteran quarterback. He got comfortable very quickly, and then they started to allow him to push the ball down the field because they saw how efficient he was performing. So I personally think that was the big difference for Arlington. They brought him in right there at the stretch run, and it ended up being the difference.
It was the major difference. Sam Shady joining us via the Invader Coffee hotline. One of our sponsors is Invader Coffee. Start your day the right way with Invader Coffee. Luis Perez, you want to talk about someone being brought in to make a huge difference, especially offensively, second half of the year, final 3 games of the year, and you can think about the final 2 games of the year. He sliced that DC Defenders defense to shreds in the championship game.
Yes, he did, and that was one of those things that we did not expect. I don't recall the stats right off the top of my head. I believe it was 27-34, if I'm not mistaken. But that was one of his best games all season long, no matter which team we're talking about, whether it was his stint with the Vipers or his stint with the Renegades. And that's kind of who Luis Perez is. You know, statistically, back if you look at his career, he's never really been an impressive guy. I've at several points called for him to be benched or not start for the team.
Yeah, you did.
And he just continues to win in clutch moments and come through when his team calls on him. And really, you can't argue with that. I mean, honestly, I think that there's no quarterback at this level that deserves this championship more than Luis Perez. And I'm very happy for him in particular.
What kind of improvements can the XFL make going into season 2 next February?
Oh, that's very simple. I mean, I think this full year push for ticket sales is only going to improve attendance. So, yeah, I know we looked back at the XFL season and people remember the 20,000 numbers that we got in San Antonio or the 30,000 numbers we got in St. Louis. But there's still the black marks of the 6,000 fans that we got in Vegas. And I know that's still 60% capacity, but let's get that a little bit closer to 10,000 capacity, you know. let's get some more fans in at Seattle, which they had some impressive games as well. Houston, let's get some more support there, And I really think that, a 10-month run of season ticket sales, running different various deals at points in time, and then really pushing the product over the next 10 months, I think we see attendance drastically improve. And I wouldn't say that it was bad in year one by any stretch.
Yeah, and I love the fact that, St. Louis had a big crowd. We had big crowds in San Antonio. Let me go to Vegas for a minute. Why couldn't they play Sam Boyd Stadium in Vegas, or did they tear it down? Did I miss something of them not playing and be able to play in Sam Boyd?
No, I believe it was due to some sort of agreement with Mark Davis and the Raiders. I'm not entirely positive about that. I do know that Mike Mitchell recently said on a podcast, I believe it was yesterday actually, on the XFL News Hub channel, that Vegas will be going back to Cashman for year 2. Their lease was already paid at Cashman for year 2, so it just makes sense. And then also they believe that a full year of promoting ticket sales for that location will probably help as well.
Okay. All right. Sam Shady joining us here as we talk all things alternative football. Let's go to the USFL and their revenue. And we've talked about this, and you were fired up about it when I had Deets on the afternoon show. Their revenue is from television, and now they have sealed it, for another season. How do they take advantage of this and bring some fans in the stands going forward?
Well, I think the main priority in season 8 or season 3 is going to be get all 8 teams in their markets.
Right.
And, you may have seen a couple weeks ago, I shared something about them going out and acquiring the trademark rights for some old names.
Yes.
And some of those names people kind of, raised an eyebrow at because it was the Boston Breakers, the Baltimore Stars.
Baltimore Stars.
So why do you do that? You do that because you give yourself options in season 3 to potentially move some of these teams into different markets if that's what is suitable for them to continue in a market of their own. Maybe we see the Philadelphia Stars move and play in Baltimore next season. Maybe we see the New Orleans Breakers move up to Boston and play up in Boston. I think that's unlikely for the Breakers in particular because that would cause a division realignment. But at the same point, I think everything is on the table for the USFL, and they're trying to do this as budget friendly as possible. So, a big reason we saw them in Memphis last season was this season, is the fact that their deal with Memphis was very financially friendly for the USFL, which helps them long term. So the next 3 seasons, they basically are not paying anything to play in Memphis, and they're basically only making money. So if they can get more of those deals on the table in cities like Denver or Boston or Baltimore or these other cities, Austin, they'll go after it because at the end of the day, that only helps them long term.
Okay. I understand. I'm getting to understand the operations of the USFL now, especially with you coming on each Friday and telling me, and then us talking offline. I want every team to be in their own home city. Is there any possibility after year 3 that we see an expansion?
Yes, I would say probably year 4 would probably be your first year you would see an expansion.
Okay.
Although some people have posited that possibly you see it in year 3. Brian Woods had talked about it at one point that expansion was a priority over being in all 8 cities, which I would personally disagree. I would think the bigger priority needs to be in all 8 markets. Then you add 4 teams or 2 teams the following season and figure out how you're going to align those divisionally. But I think personally 8 teams is perfectly fine. You just need to get them in front of their fans in their markets all season long so you can do events and signings and build up that fan base in your cities.
I like that. I like that. To the product on the field. And my first 3 words to you is a quarterback that you and I are both very familiar with our following of the CFL, McLeod Bethel Thompson.
Yes, sir. I mean, I think everybody who knew him and knew his background had a good idea that this was going to happen. But I don't think anybody thought he was going to pace the league like he has. That New Orleans Breakers offense in particular has been
Singing.
scary. They've literally averaged over 350 yards per game, over 108 rushing yards per game on the ground, 245 yards passing through the air every game. It's just been unbelievable. Right now, McLeod is set to smash the record for passing yards in the USFL. And actually, I think last count we had 2 players that were going to defeat the record from last season. So
Yeah.
anybody saying the quarterback play is not as good as it was last year might want to revisit that thought.
Yeah, absolutely. They want to revisit that thought. 1,322 yards for McLeod Bethel Thompson, 7 touchdowns in the air. He's on pace, like you said, he's on pace to smash the record. How many passing yards do you think he'll wind up with?
I think he's probably going to end this season with right around 2,600 to 2,700 yards. I think he's going to be the top passer in the league by probably a 400-yard margin. And it wouldn't shock me to see him leading passing touchdowns and several other efficiency categories as well, because he's been pretty on point all season long so far.
Do we see him get to 3,000?
I think it would take some massive games, especially at this point, because he's fallen off a little bit. And when I say fallen off a little bit, at the first 3 games of the season, I think he was averaging about 278 passing yards per game. He's down to about 250 now. So, again, still very proficient, just not quite almost 300 yards per game that he would need to get there. And now at this point, for him to hit that number, I think he'd have to average like 315 yards per passing game in order to hit the number. And I think that's just highly unlikely.
Had a question in the crowd from Ryan McCoffey. He says, what are your thoughts on Antonio Brown suiting up for the Albany Empire?
Oh.
And that, Ryan, that should answer your question right there.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan at all. I see why he's doing it. Obviously, he's trying to turn heads. Maybe he thinks he still has it. Maybe he does still have it. But I think at the end of the day, this is a sideshow. That's all it is. I think Ryan referred to it as a circus. That's basically what I would amount it to. This is literally for entertainment purposes only. It's for people to turn their heads and look at the National Arena League, because he is quickly realizing how limited the market is for indoor football at this point. And it's not what it was when his dad was playing in the AFL. We're not talking about 6-figure players who, have name recognition from former NFL, stints. It's just not that. I mean, it's a great league. It was building up to be a great season before he got involved, and I think he's kind of cratered the league so far. Personally, I don't understand Chris Siegfried doubling down on his support of Antonio Brown. I think that was a mistake. It's a black mark on the league right now. I would even go one step further and say there always needs to be a villain, right? No matter what sport you're talking about, there's always like that one owner or that one franchise that nobody likes, right?
Like Robert Kraft.
Exactly. Or, back in the day, it was Al Davis. He was the big enemy of the NFL, even though he was an owner in the NFL.
Right.
Well, I think that's kind of a good thing. So maybe you play that up a bit. You don't play into it and say, oh, we double down on our support of Antonio Brown. No, you play against that. You say, well, we didn't think it was going to go this route, or something to play up that little bit of a rivalry with the league, which I think would have been a good move. But I digress. It never happened. It's not going to happen in terms of how they're going about things. They think that he's a positive influence because he brings money and eyes to the league. So it kind of, unfortunately, is probably going to continue down this route.
Quickly to the CFL, Canadian Football League, set to kick off in a week with their with a preseason game. Your quick thoughts on the CFL? And I go specifically to Toronto because that is where McLeod Bethel Thompson made his hay, but now he's in the USFL. Who takes over at the quarterback position for McLeod Bethel Thompson?
Oh, this is a no-brainer. It's Chad Kelly, former Denver Bronco.
Right.
If you watched the Grey Cup, you saw that McLeod Bethel Thompson left the game at one point and gave way to Chad Kelly. And it was actually Chad Kelly, in my mind, who won that game for Toronto.
That brought him the title.
Exactly.
One more quick question as we hit the top of the hour. Sam Shady joining us here. Who takes over in BC at the quarterback position for the remarkable Rourke?
That's tough, but I think it's got to be Vernon Adams currently. I mean, I'm a big fan of him. He's a veteran. He's started a lot of games. I think that's where you got to go.
All right, that's our quick thoughts on the CFL, and that is Sam Shady, the owner, the manipulator, and the operator. Thank you, Cole, of the Shady Sports Network, one of the networks that houses Snowman in the Morning and the Brian Snow Show. A humble thank you to you, my friend, for picking up the shows and for picking up Snowman Multimedia. We really appreciate it. Everyone that's associated with the show appreciate it. We love you, and have a wonderful time in Cancun, my man.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you guys, not next Friday, but the Friday after.
Right.
We got you. Thanks,
All
man.
right, man.
Appreciate it.
Peace.
Time for hour 2 of this spectacular. Ryan McCoffey now joins us this morning.
That's what you need to do to beat Josh Allen. You need to make him uncomfortable.
Hour 2, time for some Spivey notes. And here's Jay.
Well, I know he's only in his 3rd year, but they're just wasting Justin Herbert.
Hour 2.
The hardest working content creator I know, the playmaker.
Hey, LeBron James, the greatest scorer of all time. Hey.
Hour 2.
The one, the only Christopher Dietz.
They rewarded Ohio State for not playing, and they punished USC for playing.
Hour 2. Sam Shady.
Oh, man. It's been a roller coaster ride if you were a Philadelphia Stars fan.
Hour 2. That's Big Ben, the man in charge of the BS3 network.
And if I see Kurt 2 Chainz Cousins out.
Hour 2, Chris Bay's joining us.
Oh my God! Oh, this game! Oh, way to go, Sammy!
Hour 2,
why is El Jefe?
Oh man, I thought I missed it. What in the all types of blue hell?
Time for hour 2 of this spectacular, and it starts right now.
The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Boston.
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
And now batting, the man who is celebrating the Celtics getting their butts whooped by the Heat, number 420, Wise El Jefe. Number 420.
Hello, gentlemen.
Good morning, my
doing,
man. How are you?
Morning.
I am doing well. I'm blessed to be here another day, man. So,
do we have more Bustelo for you?
Blessed that you're here, brother.
Yes, I have me my Bustelo with some almond mocha.
That's how I'm rolling. That's how I'm rolling this morning. Ben Sudderth is on the way, and let me get this in. Listen up, sports bettors. Your favorite sports book, BetUS.com, is back for our 29th year of NBA and NFL action with the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%. BetUS offers members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports. If you're looking for live in-game betting, incredible odds with daily odds, boosters, preps, and parlays, we got them. How about fast payoffs and exceptional one-to-one customer service? We got that too. And right now, if you go to betus.com and sign up and use the code Snowman, you will be guaranteed a 125% bonus deposit match on your initial deposit. Log on to betus.com or call 800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BET-US. Betus.com, where the game begins. And now we go to the Metroplex Report. Ah, yes. When you hear those horns and you see that fedora and you see the owner, the manipulator, and the operator of the BS3 network that humbly carries this show, you know it's Ben Sudderth, and he's in the house with us right now. Good morning, my man. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing, fellas?
Doing good, man. Doing good. How are you?
Good morning, Ben.
Good. Feeling good this Friday. Obviously, we got Stars, Vegas, Golden Knights tonight. So looking forward to Game 1.
I was going to say, is the Metroplex all green now?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, it is.
I gotta ask that. It was green in the last round because of the colors of the Kraken and the Stars, who played a fantastic 7-game series.
Well, the reason why I ask is I know that the Metroplex have a hard time putting down the Cowboys fandom. And so I was wondering if they actually decided to eschew that for a moment and actually celebrate a real team that is having playoff success.
Yeah, a real professional organization that knows how to build a roster. Yeah.
Oh, damn. Yeah, they do.
Wow.
Yes.
Ben, your quick thoughts and wrap up of what was no lie to be found. Exactly. Your thoughts, Ben, on what was a fabulous series against Seattle that went the distance.
Oh, that was a great series.
Yeah, I mean they fought. There was games where they lost, by multiple goals. Ottinger got pulled in one of those games. I mean, but they just have a mentality of next game. And I asked the coach, like, how do you guys, how do they play like that? And he just said they just have that mentality. And Coach DeBoer is such a calm type coach. You don't see him yelling, you don't see him. So his radar and his temperature, correlates throughout the whole team. And so it was an exciting series, and they did what they had to do when it mattered, and that was in that Game 7.
2-1 was the final in Game 7, and now they face the big bad Golden Knights for the Western Conference Championship. And man, I believe
wait. You said that the Stars beat the Kraken 2-1 in
Game 7.
That's exactly what I said.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's exactly what I said. Okay. They beat him in the games. They beat him in the Game 7, and now they face the big bad Golden Knights. With Game 1, I believe, being in Vegas tonight, 8:35.
It is in Vegas.
Face-off time. Vegas has home court advantage. How do you see Game 1 coming into tonight?
Yeah, I see it kind of being, we talk about this in different sports and different series, but I see it kind of being a measuring stick for both teams. The Stars are going to definitely play their game, but the Vegas being at home, obviously it's going to be, home ice advantage. But I do see the Stars getting this first one. I think they've played Vegas, and there's a unique storyline here, which some people may know. But Coach DeBoer used to coach the Vegas Knights, so there's definitely some. I don't think any of these players need anything to get prepared or get motivated, but that's an extra motivator. So I think they're definitely going to come out red hot. They're going to play their game and do what they've been doing throughout these playoffs. So I think Star is in a close one, and Ottinger is going to be standing on top of his head.
I will be doing a Brian's Bet Slips before we welcome Chris Bass a little later. And, oh, by the way, here's our daily shot. There are 4 black men on this broadcast, and they're talking hockey.
How dare we?
I had to.
The nerve.
Ryan McCarthy from the crowd. That Stars Kraken series might have been the series of the entire playoffs. So much fun to watch until the end. Are you kind of sad that series? Are you kind of sad that series ended, Ben, with the way those two teams were playing together?
I am, because it was such a entertaining series. It was such a series when you walked into the ring, you could just feel the energy, and that was
in both arenas. Yeah, in both arenas, in Seattle and in Dallas. I mean, they were already off the hook for getting to the second round, but for them to play the series that they played against Seattle, and Seattle, if you think about it, had no business getting to the conference semifinals, but they knocked out the defending Stanley Cup champion in 7 games in their house. And, Dallas scored what was eventually the winning goal in the second period, took a 1-0 lead into the third period. But you got to hand it to both teams, not just Seattle, but to Dallas. Neither team gave up in that 7th game.
Yeah. Neither team showed any any backing down. They both, fought to the very end, and then, end up getting a goal within the last, minute. I mean, that showed you that they fought to the very end.
Yeah, they did. And now you get Vegas, you get the power of the Stars and the speed of the Golden Knights. And since the Golden Knights were built, they've always predicated their game on speed. How do the Stars neutralize that, and how do they pepper their goaltender with shots?
Yeah, obviously it's the defense, and that starts with Miro Heiskanen, who's one of the top defenders, not just on the Stars but in the league. And he, when he's healthy, that completely changes, everything. When he was out, obviously when he got seen that when he got hit with the puck in his face, the defense completely changed. So
Yeah,
I think having him is going to be major. So obviously it's going to be defense, not allowing it to get too crowded in front of goaltender Ottinger, and making sure there's space, and playing their game. You're gonna have to catch up. You're gonna have to be speed versus speed. So I think they're able to do that. They were able to do that with Seattle throughout that series. So I think there's a little bit of some comparisons here when it comes to Vegas and Seattle. So yeah, they're just gonna have to match the energy of Vegas.
Yeah, and it's gonna be a lot of energy. Of course, they're playing at T-Mobile Arena. 18,000 plus are going to be on their feet the entire game. And I knew I was going to ask this question, and I asked this question to Ben when the Cowboys played the 49ers in San Francisco, and you know how loud that joint is. How big will it be for the Stars to strike first on the road?
It's very important. I mean, that like I was saying, that's that measuring stick, and so it is very important for them to score early, to get shots on goal, which they did a great job at last series. They weren't trying to get the perfect shot; they were trying to get shots on goal, and you're going to get one that's going to go in. And if you guys seen Wyatt Johnson's goal, where basically he just kind of flipped it over the head.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, that's got to be, in my young hockey watching life, that was probably one of the best goals I've ever seen. So they're definitely going to have to get that first one, and I think that also will be a little bit of will be momentum decreaser for Vegas.
Yeah, they got to neutralize the speed of Vegas. They've got to get shots on goal. We've seen it so many times with so many Stanley Cup champions of the past, and I bring up the Washington Capitals because that's how they beat Vegas's speed. They peppered their goaltender with shots, and they got to get a lot of shots on goal. Eventually, some of them will find the net.
Right, exactly. Yep, that's my same perspective as well.
Rupe Hintz is an X factor, I believe, for the Dallas Stars. How big of a role will he play in this series with Vegas's speed?
He will play a major role. The goal he had in Game 7 was basically a loose puck, and he ends up, full speed ahead and getting that. And so he's been one of the best players, if not the best player, of the playoffs. And so yeah, he's going to be definitely very important piece to how this team goes. And so yeah, as he goes, and as some of these other star players go, that's how the Stars are going to go.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that Rupe Hintz was huge in that Seattle series. We talked about his impact, and the one player that he neutralized in Game 7 against Seattle was Jordan Eberle, because it just seemed like after Game 5, Eberle was finding his stride, and then one quick switch that had Rupe Hintz on Eberle, and Eberle was slowed down.
Yeah, definitely, and you can see it in his production. How that affected them. So I 100% agree with that, and that's one thing I like about Coach DeBoer. He'll rotate the lines. He'll figure out what works best. He is I think he's an excellent strategist, and he's an excellent motivator, for his team.
Oh man, Ben Sutter III joining us here via our hotline presented by Invader Coffee. All right, man. We have to get to it, and I want Ben to take some shots at Cowboys Nation, because Ben is actually a a rationally thinking football man, there is a meme that's floating out there that has the Cowboys going 16-1 with the you know where I'm going. We had to get this in.
Oh man.
And the only loss, I beg of you to make sense of this if you can. The only loss that was on this meme was against, of all teams, the New York Jets. I will, you know what? Let me do this Chris Bay style. I have one question and one question only, Big Ben.
What in the all types of blue hell
are these fans thinking?
That's the point. They're not thinking. They're just running through life not thinking. Like that does not make any sense at all. There's absolutely no way we're just going to lose one game. There's absolutely no way.
You have to see San Francisco. I believe
Right.
that's
Who we failed to beat.
Sunday night game. That's a Sunday night game, I believe.
Yeah, we failed to beat the 49ers year after year after year. So I don't see that changing until they actually do it. And then when you look at the Jets, I get the Jet. I do think there's a possibility of us losing because Aaron Rodgers owns us. So I get that, but you got to go to Philly. You got to play the Commanders.
You got to play Philadelphia twice. You got to play Philadelphia twice. You got to see the Giants twice. And
we know how those types of games go.
For all intents and purposes, given how last season the regular season ended, you got to see the Redskins twice.
Yeah. There is absolutely no way we lose one game. I would be completely shocked. These fans do not think
they don't.
And that's one thing I do appreciate about local radio here on the Fan is that they do not sugarcoat things.
No,
they will say it just like it is. Like there's no way you can have full confidence in this team when they just fired basically the entire offensive staff.
Right.
And now you're saying that, you're going to have a coach / not coach, and then you have McCarthy players. I'm like, there's no way you can have full confidence in this team. You got to be literally delusional.
What would you say? A coach / not coach?
You got shot in how you said you're the OC, but you're not calling plays. So
right,
like, what are
right.
Yeah.
I mean, the meme, and Cole Johnson showed us the meme. They have them going 16-1 with their only loss against the Jets. We just broke it down. You got to see Philadelphia twice. You got to see the Giants twice. You got to see the Redskins twice. And then you have I believe that's a Sunday night game. You have to go to Santa Clara.
Yeah, and you got to play Buffalo.
And you got to play the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, in Buffalo. So yeah, don't let's not drink the Jim Jones Kool-Aid too soon. Okay.
Ben, I do have a question though, Ben.
I'm sorry, I had to go ahead, Wise.
Ben, so starting with the Super Bowl and now with your coverage of the Stanley Cup, where do you see the BS3 side of the sports division of the BS3 network going?
Yeah, honestly, I see us covering every possible sporting event that we can get into. The Big 12 is coming up. They're going to have media days at Jerry World, so we will be there for that. So covering each and every sport we can possibly get into, having people in multiple areas. So where you are, Wise, if there's something you want to cover, where Cole is, if some type of sport he wants to cover, I'm not afraid to put in for credentials. We get it or we don't. They will know BS3 Network because I'm going to keep applying until we get in the door. So it's a wide spread of being able to cover a variety of sports, and some of those that are not like hockey necessarily represented fully in our culture too.
Can I cover the Final Four in Phoenix, Arizona? Can we cover the Final Four in Phoenix, Arizona? Because that's where my wife and I plan to land, and I want to surprise her with that. The Super Bowl in Vegas, Radio Row, all kinds of stuff, and I want to take this crew with us. I want to do so much, not just for my network, Ben, but for yours, because if it weren't for you guys and for Shady Sports Network saying, "Hey, Snowman, we got a spot for you," and I humbly thank you for that. I mean,
yeah, I definitely think we can do that. We applied for Houston this year. I think it was probably too late, but I definitely know when the time span is. So I think we can definitely do that because we're going to be there, and our name is going to continue to grow and to get out there. So yeah, Wise, we definitely just want to expand and cover different events, and like I said, specifically for hockey. This is not probably one of those that our culture follows very heavily, but we're trying to bridge that gap, between the whatever the hockey team is in your area,
Give me the black. You know who my team is. I want the Blackhawks. I'll cover the Blackhawks for you guys because I started yesterday with the White Sox. Yes, black man talking baseball. I started with the White Sox doing a play-by-play call of that, and Victor talked to me yesterday, and he said we finally get to see you in your element. And I gotta tell you, man, it felt good doing that. So if you could pick up any streams that I do, play-by-play streams, because I'm doing the WNBA tonight, Sparks and Mercury tip-off at 11 o'clock. Yeah, that's an 11 o'clock game. I know you may have something then, but in the future, I'd love for you to pick up the calls.
Yeah, sure. Just let me know when it is. We can check the schedule, and I think that's something we can definitely work out.
And Ben, and you talk about hockey not being represented in our culture like that, and we do have some exciting. We have some exciting players here in New York. We have Keandre Miller, who's up and coming defenseman, who's who has a world of talent, and there's a lot of players across the league now, and it's actually grown within the culture somewhat within the last few years with a lot of these young players that are coming out.
Yeah, I agree, and I think as we as the viewers and people and media see it, I think that'll have my family watching it more. My dad, he doesn't watch hockey at all, but seeing me cover it, probably a little bit in his mind is like, okay, maybe I should watch some of this. So yeah, we're definitely there, and if anybody knows the black culture, we are literally in every particular sport. And as much as people think, oh, there's not a black person there, I guarantee we're going to infiltrate that. So pickleball, we're about to infiltrate that too. So whatever.
You know something that's funny? The first black hockey announcer made his debut 2 seasons ago. Everett Fitzhugh for the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah,
play-by-play announcer.
And great story. So, Doug, if you don't know, if nobody knows Doug, King Doug, he is a talker.
He will interview anybody.
Oh, he'll talk to anybody. He'll talk.
So he's already talked to Everett, because he was obviously in Dallas at the game, and so he's like, yeah, whatever we can do to partner with each other. He's all in with BSG Network, so he's gonna probably be on Queen 3 and King in the future. But
I'm sure of that.
That just shows that whenever we see anybody, and it's all races and cultures, but when we see someone in all culture, we definitely gravitate towards each other because we know, like, hey, it's continuing.
Not too many of us.
No, there isn't.
Not too many of us. Yeah.
I had the pleasure in 2015, and I've talked about this, of covering the Stanley Cup clincher in Game 6 in Chicago against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and no one looked at me weird. They see me in the press area, and they're like, "You covering this? Yep. Okay, come on in."
Yeah.
And there were regular tickets waiting for me, but at the last second, I get a tap on the shoulder from a Blackhawks representative who recognized me from covering high school games in the United Center, and they said, "You want to come up to the press area?" Hell yeah, I'll do that. And that was that. Yeah. And that was one of the greatest experiences of my life, seeing the Blackhawks clinch at home.
Yeah, and the Stars have been very accommodating. Anytime we come in there, and obviously we're getting to know everybody. We're trying to get people on a first name basis. So as it goes into the end of this year and next year, we will continue to build our presence. So anytime we need credentials, anytime, even if they're like, hey, we forgot your credentials, they'll just write it up for us. And I'm like, hey, it don't matter as long as we get in the door. don't think it's on a piece of paper. I mean, I'm going to put it on the lanyard, and we're going to roll with it. So,
and we're gonna do the same thing. I made this offer to Cole, and I'm gonna make it to you, Ben, to pick it up. Should all things go right, and I pick up the HBCU Chicago Football Classic, I want your network to house the call, and I want Cole to come ride shotgun with me in the booth.
Yeah, because I mean, with that is an avenue that we definitely need to tap into, is getting calls on sports, because people will watch that type of stuff, especially if it's on on a Roku channel where people a lot of people have access to. So yeah, any calls on sports that we can get access to, any leagues, HBCU would definitely be, I think, a great avenue also for us.
Well, I will do what I can, because I have a couple contacts at the Big Ten in my hometown of Chicago. So I will do what I can and help BS3 get to the upper part of the Midwest and parts of the Southwest when Jody and I move out that way.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Ben Sutter III. I didn't do it right, and thank you, Cole, for this. That's Ben Sutter, the owner, the manipulator, and the operator of the BS3 network. That's Ben Sutter the third. I can't do it as well. I can't do it as well as Cole. You know, he earned so many things. Thank you, Ben. We love you. We appreciate you.
No problem. At 2 p.m., we got Cold Sports coming up. Got a fresh episode. Also, we have Poppy J and Wise at 8. And Revelations is now on Monday at 7 p.m. Every Monday at 7 p.m.
Beautiful.
BS3 TV on Roku. Make sure to add it onto your TV. BS3TVLive.com. We'll be continuing to cover the Stars, so should have a pregame show tonight as Doc is in Vegas. So appreciate you guys.
Love it. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, guys. Peace.
And now the many musings and unearthings of Cole Johnson. No, I'm kidding.
No.
Let's say hello to Tom O'Boyle from CSTV and CSTVnow.com, housing Snowman in the morning as well, and to our West Coast audience. And thank you, Tom, for taking a chance on Snowman Multimedia and our humble programming. We appreciate you. We appreciate Ben Sudderth and BS3 Network for housing us as well. You know, something Cole said earlier in the day, earlier in the show, when we talked to Victor, and you didn't expect that to stick.
Yeah, Vicala. Yeah,
the Vicala. I think that's what did it. When you put that sound at the end of it. Yes.
Oh gosh, I had to shake my head when I heard Wise go Bizarro Wise, and he gives Victor his flowers, and he actually says Vicala. I'm like, oh Lord, why?
You know something, Vicala. That's what brings out Bizarro Wise, Jason Whitlock, and that took off. That took off.
You know what? But it's like, I'm telling you, with every show, I don't think we could top it. And then we come to the next show, and we come to the next show, and top it, and we top it, and we top it. And it doesn't even seem that way. It doesn't seem that way. And then after I sit down and review it and watch it, I'm like, damn, I didn't know it was this funny. And it's how it's been every show. It's like we talk serious topics, but we laugh our asses off like
every time,
the whole show,
every time. The recent one that y'all did, where there was no talk of Boston until the final 2 minutes. At the beginning, it started at the beginning when Wise goes as calm as he is. I can never do a perfect impression of Wise, but I would do my best. When he calmly goes, "Praz, I love you." Let me get the button ready here. And he just as calm as he would go, "Praz, I love you." And I think Cole was starting to giggle then.
Yeah, because I had an inkling it was going in that direction.
Yep. And then Wise goes, "But you are now I can't do the full Puerto Rican accent, Brooklyn accent, but you are now a candidate for the moron of the year.
And wait till this next episode that's coming out.
Oh Lord,
man.
Oh Lord, Cole already warned me.
Well, it's a little bit late because we recorded it Monday, but
yeah,
it was fun recording it, and I didn't even think it was as funny as I.
Are y'all recording the next one today, or are you waiting to release this one?
You're
back on schedule?
Again. Yeah,
so you
recorded
back on
today.
schedule?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man, I cannot wait. But once Wise said, "Praz, you are now a candidate for Moron of the Year," I put my headphones down and walked out this studio, and my stomach hurt. I came back. I put the headset back. I put the headset back on. And all throughout the show, Wise would just throw one-liner after one-liner after one-liner.
Yep.
I'm on the floor, dying. And I told you, Jody walked by and wondered what was wrong. But then she heard me laughing, and then she saw you, Wise, and you, Cole, and she just goes, "These two." I'm like, yes,
not these two.
I'm crying. And she and I got back in my seat. She gave me a kiss and she says, "You know this is your fault, right?" And she walked off.
Probably giggling.
Technically,
she was flat out laughing.
Technically, it is kind of your fault because you introduced us.
You introduced us to each other. Yeah.
So
okay, I will take full.
You have to take responsibility for that.
Listen, I will take full unadulterated responsibility. I will take full unadulterated responsibility for that. I will take full responsibility for that, because had I not introduced you to, then we wouldn't have gotten together. You and Cole wouldn't have gotten together. I wouldn't be laughing my ass off every week at Mentality. And I love you guys. Let's take 4 minutes, and when we come back, y'all know who's next. Back and forth.
I'm in another lane. I'm a different breed. I'm everything you can never be. I'm next level. Next level.
Thursday nights are wrestling night on CSTV. Tune in every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific to see all the amazing Next Level Pro Wrestling stars on Thursday Night Throwdown on CSTVNow.com and the CSTV app on your Roku device.
This planet has been great to me. It's given me gifts that I can't even explain. It's given me adventures and memories I'll never forget. And Battleborn, I think, has given me the opportunity to go beyond and give something back. How can I be a better custodian to this planet and the place I live? That's where I am with Battleborn. Let's make the planet a better place.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
The original Think Drink is back. Level up with proven ingredients formulated to crush your competition. No gimmicks, no jitters, no messing around. Just high potency results that keep you moving day or night. There's a new nerd in town, and we came to play. Nerd Focus, smarter than energy.
All right, we ain't rating anymore. Push the button. Push button now. Wait. I gotta push a button myself. Okay, push button. Push the button.
The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Boston.
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Why
Did
did
you
lady?
And now, the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the legendary Chris Bay.
Yeah, baby. Time to end this week the right way. And we welcome the legendary Chris Bass to the program. Good morning, brother. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen, and good morning to Rain Man. Good morning to the Mad Scientist. Good morning to Wise All. I like your public service announcement, man. The Wise El Jefe with the Yankees, that was nice. That was nice. That was beautiful. So I appreciate that. You get it done, Doc. You said it.
Well, okay, we talked. We've spoken this early throughout the course of the week, and let me get the button ready here. What would Chris Bass's public service announcement be? What would Chris Bass? I'm afraid to ask, but I'll ask. What would Chris Bass's public service announcement be? Considering he's full of them, what would yours be?
Oh, first let me get the good mornings out the way, so I don't want to disrespect nobody.
Right.
Again, good morning to the comment section, everybody there, and a happy Friday, boom shakalaka to all.
And a happy boom shakalaka back to you, sir.
Boom shakalaka to you.
Oh, thank you. My public service announcement would be the following. Keep your hand on your wallet. Make sure that the hooker whores stay away. Because today, as throughout the summer in particular, is the reason for skeezing.
Already.
I have had on my Instagram, I counted this week, 9 back-to-back hooker whores.
Slide in your DMs. Oh, man.
Exactly.
9 hooker whores sliding your DMs. Oh,
I
man.
borrowed from Ferris Bueller's Day Off 9 times.
It is the damnedest of shame that they do that.
Oh, yes.
And as I said before, and I say again, I would never, ever begrudge somebody making a dollar. Do what you gotta do.
Right.
But I am not stupid, and I'm not a mark.
Right.
And again, when the algorithms happen, and you see one after the other, and we had this conversation before on this very skilled and very excellent program, they'll like everything you do. Your picture, your nose, your kneecap. If you posted all types of pics, they like them all.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
And then have the nerve to ask you for a private conversation.
Oh, Lord.
Yes. Oh, God.
And no offense to my friends who are Asian, but they get it when I tell them this. And some have the last name of Fu. I tell these people, I tell them to the hooker whores, F you. F you.
This edition of Into the Boom Shakalaka is brought to you by Bronze God Fedoras. For the best coverage of your Chrome Dome, trust in Bronze God Fedoras.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you. Oh, Lord have mercy.
We could just end the show right there with the last name of Fu and President, F you. And he does it with the hand. Got to get the hand motion in there. F you.
F
The
you.
last name of Fu means F you.
That's a shame and a half.
We could just walk off like Frank Thomas right there. Okay.
The last name
sad.
of Fu.
It is.
F you. Right.
F you.
That's right.
The last name of Fu.
Oh, my Lord. Why can't he even look up? Why
it's like martial arts. Kung F you. I like that dude.
That
I
one
do
was
too.
necessary. Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
Kung F you base.
Oh my
F you.
God.
Only
Kung
you.
F
Only
you.
you.
Kung F you.
Only you. Oh my gosh.
Lord have mercy.
You get tired.
Yes, you do.
You know, like I said before, it's always a peak season because now since the birds are chirping, the sky is blue, the green is green, the Negroes are niggling. Everybody's happy.
Wait, what?
The Negroes
What was
are
that last
Negroing.
one? The Negroes
The
are
Negroes are Negroing.
But after all the Negroes are Negroing, the sun is cold, and the Negroes are hoes. Since I lost my mind. Oh, since I lost my mind.
I do got a question for you, Base. I do got a question for you.
The Negroes be Negroing.
This is a big topic for the week.
Sure.
What do you personally, your personal opinions on the whole Ja Morant situation?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, well, thank you for asking about that. I was going to get into that. Thank you.
Great question.
So, as we know, Ja Morant sneakers have been removed by Nike site and the app.
Yeah.
And the NBA
it's already
has taken
started
forth with the investigation. You have to remove yourself from a certain element of your so-called friends.
Yes.
And you have to do that for the sake of you. You always hear about friends being in people's lives for the reason for a season. And let the season stop. Because the second time you brandish a gun, and the gangster life is not as glorious as you think it is.
Nope.
Depending on who you are, you know people who in their life, hell, like I said before, back in the day, growing up in the south side of Chicago, I rode big wheels back in the day with guys who became gang members. And so I never judged them. I just wish that I wouldn't get a phone call and hear that they had died in the street somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it was one of those things where, look, man, I know this is your life. I know you're supposed to do what you do and everything, but, be careful, man. And I'll say a prayer for you just because you live in the life that you've adopted to. And don't get me wrong. Certain people in certain economic situations have a life like that because they have no other choice.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back to, say, Malcolm X, the autobiography of Malcolm X, in the book and in the movie, West Indian Archie, portrayed by Delroy Lindo in the movie. In the book and in the movie, Malcolm makes the point that if West Indian Archie was not in the street, he could be a brilliant mathematician or work for NASA because his mind should have been and could have been in that area. But unfortunately, it was the street life where he ran numbers.
Right.
So think about these talents that these people have, but they don't want to pursue something bigger, or they keep the life that they're around in their surroundings. And going back to Ja Morant, you're not just a player, dude. You're one of the faces of the league, generational talent.
Yes.
And you want to ruin it over hanging out with some ne'er-do-wells, some knuckleheads, and brandishing a gun is stupid.
Yeah.
More than once. More than once.
And I wouldn't
more than once, and within a calendar year.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's their fault. I'm saying because he's a grown man, and these are decisions that he is making. I'm sure that they didn't tell him to pull out the gun and brand it, because if you look at the video, homeboy pulled the video, he moved it down.
He pulled the
quickly.
video too. Yeah, and pulled it to his chest, I think.
Yeah, he didn't want to see the gun. So these are mistakes he's making. Dude,
on behalf of his mother, by the way, if we dive deeper into the story, on behalf of his mother, making a phone call and saying you need to go get him. Done some research into this, and I haven't completed my research, but that is the main part of the story. That's the main part of the story.
It's just ridiculous.
Oh my!
Making and Wise, thank you for saying it, and Base, thank you for saying it. Making stupid grown man decisions,
and that's what it really boils down to. I mean, people are throwing these hot takes saying, "Well, yeah, Morant should be banned for a year, and he should be banned for life in NBA, and he's a thug." I'm like, no.
Technically, he didn't do nothing illegal. Technically,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He did not break a law, but he just was immature in that moment. He was immature.
He's immature. He did not do anything illegal. In Denver, they didn't file any charges.
No. Right.
So the
No.
situation in Indiana, no charges were filed. So
And
he technically didn't do nothing illegal. It's just not what. But you're the face of the NBA,
right?
And they're not trying. Now we're talking about billions of dollars here. They're not trying to jeopardize that because you want to be a stupid idiot and wave a gun in the video.
And we're talking about an entity that's themselves are throwing nine figures in this guy's face in the next 5 years.
And then you got stupid idiots posting memes when they're showing LeBron with a gun and they're showing
Draymond Green with one, Chris Kaman.
The difference is they're in a secure environment at a gun range,
being
shooting
taught
guns, shooting properly how to use the gun,
properly how to use it. Yes,
not waving the gun around. These are pictures of men actually at a range getting the proper training.
Say it again, Wise.
The proper training.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot compare the two. Oh, there's not. What's the difference? The difference is one is in a secure environment where you got a professional showing you how to shoot, and the other is a stupid moron in a car with his homeboys that if he waves the wrong way, he can shoot somebody in the face.
And he
that's
can
the
shoot
difference.
himself. And he can shoot himself.
And could shoot
Hello.
himself.
Plaxico
Yes.
Burress.
Plaxico Burress.
Yes.
Hello.
And could
You
shoot
also
himself.
gotta look at the fact that, and maybe John doesn't see it or not, but someone is admiring you, John Moran.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody looking up to you.
That's
Someone
right.
is looking to you, and say, for example, they're an aspiring basketball player themselves. They're using you as the role model, and you're not doing a good job.
No,
at this stage in the game, and I think that hopefully, and like he said in just paraphrasing in the statement he made about maybe his words doesn't mean something now. You are correct, because it's hard to believe you've done this twice, not once, but twice, and hopefully not thrice. Hopefully not three times.
Hopefully
two
not
times
thrice.
is enough.
Yeah.
Hopefully not thrice.
You thought he would have learned from the first experience.
Yes.
Sometimes you don't.
Even though no charges were
Yeah,
filed.
exactly, Bates. Sometimes you don't.
Even though no charges were filed and you escaped with an 8-game suspension. And that's an escape.
And I
Because
love the fact you
on
used that
court.
word, Snowman, escaped, because it could have been a lot worse.
Yep, he escaped with only an 8-game suspension when that could have been. I won't say should have been, because I'm one of the folks that at first saying he should be banned for a year, but after listening to Cole's excellent synopsis of the situation and doing research myself, that's just irresponsibility. Unlike Kyrie Irving, who shared a link, and they want to paint Kyrie Irving as innocent as opposed to John Morant. I've seen, Bass said it best, the Negroes are Negroing, and I got to make this comparison because I've seen it on Facebook.
Now, to me, that's willful ignorance, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because they want to say John Moran is only getting this number suspension, and Kyrie Irving got screwed over because he shared a link. What people don't understand about the Kyrie Irving situation, and I said it on this show first. No one else, no big show said the one thing that applies in Kyrie Irving's case, but we said it here first. In 4 words, he violated his contract. Thank you. No other show, be it the BS shows you see on Facebook where people don't have the proper setup, and yes, I'm taking all the shots necessary because it's Friday. Even the big time shows that are funded by dirty money have not said the one thing, and yes, I did some digging, folks. It's what I do for a living. And I even had my wife help me on this. And the conclusion is, in 4 words, he violated his contract, especially with the advent and the growth of social media. And I've seen so many Negrolings get PO'd I can't stop using that word. They get PO'd. He just shared a link. Have you done research lately? And now people have come to me from different areas, Dallas included, that confirmed what I said. Hell, if you want to think about it, that's one reason Brooklyn shipped him the hell out of there.
I really like John Morant. I appreciate the brother. Fantastic game.
I do too, man. I do too.
And you don't want to see it go down the slides of hell. And that's the track he's going towards. He doesn't get his act together. If I had to pick a song to describe John Morant, and you know me, I'm old school. This song was old before I even got on the earth. During my time, check out an instrumental good piece by Grover Washington Jr. called Knucklehead.
Yes.
And that would be how I describe John Morant right now, a knucklehead.
Because he's being one.
It's unfortunate, but you were exactly correct.
He's being one. And it's like you said that. It's like you said, Cole. Hate it, but find the lie.
Truth is the truth. I mean, because that is especially this time, this particular time, that is a knucklehead maneuver and move, because you already saw, okay, if I were to brandish a firearm and have it go live on social media somehow, the league in which I play will actually slap my wrist, and they will punish me for it. You've already gone through it. And then you have the commissioner of the league, Adam Silver, say that you met with him. You talked about how it's devastating to your brand, devastating to your team, devastating to the league, and how you shouldn't do things like this. And you probably gave him promises saying that you won't do this again. And it didn't take you but 2 months to do it again.
And then you broke your promise.
It didn't take you 2 months to do this again. And you had your homeboy who taped you, who he was having a good time with you, knew the stakes, knew the consequences you would pay, and then when he saw that you were brandishing a weapon, he said, let me not film you while you're holding a gun in your hand. So it looks like to me your boys know the deal. Somehow you don't.
You didn't. Somehow you don't know the deal, and
that is what's so painful about this.
2 months. 2 months.
That's what's ridiculous. That's what's so crazy about this. That dude, you just went through this experience. You already know what the consequences were. You got off the first time, didn't lose your Nike sponsorship. They still they stood by you.
Yes.
What do you think? A second time around, they're gonna let this go?
And again,
you're gonna pay somehow. Yep.
And again,
here you go. The sponsorships are starting to leave him.
The word I used, John Morant escaped branding death.
And you were correct in using the word escaped.
He escaped branding death. Yeah. And when I say branding death, we're talking about loss of sponsor deals. Nike, hello. We're talking support from teammates, although they foolishly support him for some reason. And I saw this on Facebook. I saw it on Twitter, and it applies here. No one, including his father, I'm thinking his father wanted to give him a tap on the shoulder, but he was told not to. This is my thinking and my thinking only.
He was told not to give him that tap on the shoulder.
This is my thing. I don't think I don't think it happened. I hope I'm totally wrong in that thinking. I really do. I really hope I'm totally wrong in that thinking. But nobody gave him that tap on the shoulder and said, "Look, why are you doing this again?" More to the point, don't do this again.
Or be like Dude been in South Central while drinking juice in the hood when dude fell on Bill Duke's character's windshield. There wasn't anybody that was saying to him, "You know you're effing up, right? You know you're effing up, right?"
No effing up, right?
There
That's
wasn't
the tap on
one
the
person
shoulder he
doing
needed.
that to him. Yeah.
That's the tap on the shoulder that he needed, and he didn't
Yeah.
get it. And now it has cost him.
Yeah.
It has cost him a sponsorship. Go ahead, Base.
Well, you know what happens, and I wish I knew him personally because I would love to talk to him.
I would too.
Because I formerly
same
was a
here.
knucklehead. So it's
Same.
not like I'm not going to sit here and have revisionist history on my life. And what happens when you can talk to somebody because you've already lived it,
Yeah.
you can tell that person the pits and the path that they're about to approach if they're not very careful.
Yep.
And they have the option to listen or not. And sometimes, I'm going to sit here in front.
Yeah. Yeah.
There were times in my life I got a message here and I dodged it. I got a message there and I dodged it, but it didn't really hit home. I know I'm hard-headed. So I know it took a while for me to realize that this is not the path you should be on. And so I think we all go through that in our
Yep, we do.
lives. But do we receive the message?
Yes.
There's a good scene in the movie Ray where he's at home and it's kind of like being a recluse. He gets the phone call, I think it was from ABC Records, and it was like he was happy. It was like, what are you talking about, Ray? They didn't have a search warrant, and the charges were dropped. And his wife was telling him, "No, you're not getting it. You need to realize you have a problem.
Right.
That you are a drug addict, and you need to stop it and get your life together." So there's a scene in that same scene where she hands him his son's baseball trophy.
Yeah.
And it was like, look at it, listen to it, hold it. You were not here for this.
You weren't. Yeah. You didn't.
And you
attend
need
that
to
function.
be here for us as a family. And it's a soul searching thing. It's
Yes,
the
it
journey
is.
only you can take. But do you want to take it?
Do you want to take it?
Yes.
Do you want to take it? I got the same
Doggone
kind of
it, Bass.
message.
Drop that nugget, bro. Oh my.
I got the same kind of message from my dad when I was an infant in broadcasting, and I was also married at the time. I was going through hell. I mean, I have to say, my first marriage was immediately in shambles when we moved to Chicago and had to live with my parents. And I just started. It was my first season at Chicago State, first full season. And my dad yanked me aside and he said, "Don't kill your career." And he walked off. I'm like, what?
It's funny how wisdom can pierce into you and say things to you in a way that at that time you might not understand all of it. But then when you have a little bit of life experience and you look back down at advice that you got past like that, you say to yourself, "Oh, so that's what he meant."
I've had some knucklehead.
That's what he
moments.
meant.
I've had some knucklehead moments in
Yeah.
my life during my first marriage. I did some stupid things. All right, stew and pid, as a friend of mine would say, which led to me stepping out on my marriage because I didn't feel appreciated. I just couldn't communicate it at the time. The only person I communicated that to was my father. And he wouldn't listen to me. And I'm trying to think why, because I was doing some knucklehead things in the house and putting the house finances in jeopardy. Duh.
And your father wisely didn't dispense wisdom that wasn't going to be taken.
Exactly. I was a knucklehead at the time. I was 23 years old. When I moved back home from Minnesota, and that first hug my dad and I shared, everything came out. All the talking that needed to be done happened. Happened at that time. And on September 3rd, 2001, when I reunited with my parents, that began the odyssey.
So, but the thing with this is, he's trying to portray a lifestyle that he doesn't live.
Right.
Especially in Memphis.
Say that again. Wise.
Say that again.
You had young Dolph murdered, right, in Memphis. And he was up and coming rapper, all this other stuff. But he wants to portray that gangster lifestyle. Dude,
you're not it.
In Memphis, that gang coach is serious.
They do not care. They do not care that you're famous.
No.
They do not care that you're rich, and they don't care that you're a brand.
You're gonna have a real gangster come test your gangster, and you're not gangster at all.
And you're not going to win that fight.
And you will fail that test with flying colors.
With sinking colors. Forget flying colors. You'll fail that test with sinking colors.
Like me and Poppy had this discussion on our show, and look, we street dudes. We was born. Right. We was born hustlers. We was born in the street. We ran the streets.
Right.
I'm saying, so we know street dudes. We know killers.
Right.
You is not one of them, Ja.
Not even close.
Exactly. They're the people.
Is not one of them.
Not even close.
Real gangsters don't let.
They move in silence.
Don't let their business.
Real gangsters move in silence. Yes.
They don't be waving their guns.
No,
I mean, look. I didn't come from. I grew up in the streets, but I didn't live in the streets. But I noticed many, and it's like what Wise said. The real gangsters. It is like what Lil Wayne said. They move in silence. They move in silence like lasagna, meaning that they're G's that you don't know that they're G's until you mess them over and you feel whatever it is that they deem as punishment for you.
Let's give Bass the final word before we sign off for the day. Bass, it's all yours.
Well, I'll tell you. I have to say this next story for next week about a friend of mine who's in the gang. I know we're up against the clock, but here's the thing about John Moran. There's also people that are winging back in the wings who want you to fall and fail.
Yes.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Please
don't give them the satisfaction of you falling and failing. Don't do it.
Yes.
Man, oh man.
Man,
everybody who just heard those words in the chat, listen to us on radio and watching us on television. Take those words and pin it up against your wall and pin it to your heart. Pin it to your heart, because those words were necessary. And with that, we say thank you, Bass, for joining us as you do every Friday. We love you, and that nugget. I'm putting that in my office. That's one of the things that I'm going to put on the wall in my office. There are many that want you to fail. Don't give them the satisfaction.
Don't give them the satisfaction to see you fail.
Don't fall, don't fail.
Don't fall, don't fail. If you fall, get back up. Don't give them the satisfaction. Thank you, Bass. We love you for that. Hey, thank you so much.
Love you guys more. Love everybody in the comment section. Thank you for letting me be myself again. And have a fantastic weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sly Stone.
And now, the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the legendary Chris Bay.
All right, we ran overtime on CSTV. We're going to sign off right now. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you,
then they're not big enough.
If you fall, if you fail, don't let people see you fail. Get back up and keep trucking. We're out of here. See you Monday.
See you.